So now in the second part of the lesson, we're going to learn how to draw rotations. So let's take a look at my first example here. It says, rotate the pentagon about the vertex B 90 degrees clockwise. So what I'm going to do is we're looking at vertex B here. And we want to rotate this whole shape 90 degrees. So I'm first going to go right here. And point A must be rotated 90 degrees clockwise, which is that way. So I'm going to go to there. Okay? So now I look at this. This is a total of, I'm going to measure the exact distance. So I measure it, and it's 2.2 centimeters. So I'm going to continue on this line and measure 2.2 centimeters and put it to the nearest dot, which is right around here. So now this is going to be my image of A prime. Now I'm going to take a look. We're looking at my next dot. Let's look at C. So C is right there, and we're going to move it 90 degrees. So I'm going to take up here is 90 degrees, and that's going to be for C. So I measure, I look at C, I know C is directly across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots. So from here I'm going to go up 6 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So C prime is going to be right there. It's a little bit awkward because I'm right in my question now. Okay, now let's take a look at D. So D, I'm going to, once again, go from here to here, have D, and we're going to go 90 degrees, so it's going to be somewhere up there. Okay, and D is exactly, if we look at this, how many squares this way? We're going to look at it is 1, 2, whoa. I'm going to count, it's around 4 and 4.6 centimeters. So I find my point there, and it's going to be around 4.6 centimeters, which, to tell you the truth, is right here, we're going to say. There's D. And if we look from C, we know D is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So now it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. So there is going to be D prime. And now I can look at my last one, E. I know E is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. So I'm just going to go down 6 here, and it's going to be to right where B is. So it should look something like that. So if I was to draw my new shape, it's going to look, and I'm going to draw it in a different color here. It's going to look something like this. So there is my rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. So let's take a look at my second one. So let's look at example 2. Example 2 wants us to rotate this trapezoid here, ABCD, 120 degrees counterclockwise about the C vertex. So we're going to rotate it about this vertex counterclockwise, so the opposite direction of what a clock goes. So I'm going to start with point A again. And I take my protractor and line it up. Notice how I'm going this way because I'm going to start from 0, so I have to use this one here. And we're going to rotate it counterclockwise to 120, which is right there. Okay. Now I'm going to measure my distance. A is from C, which in this case here is just under 4 centimeters. And then I'm going to look on that line from C to where my new A will be. I'm going to go just under 4 centimeters, which is around right there. So this here is going to be line A prime. And I can even draw that line here now, okay, because we know that's A prime, and we are connected A to C. So now I want to go and find B. So in this case here, I'm going to look from C to B, put it on 0, it's around there, okay, and I am going to rotate it 120 degrees. So I go over, so it's going to be about right there, 120 degrees. Now I'm going to measure my distance from C to B. C to B is approximately 3.5, just under 3.5. So I'm going to go here and go just under 3.5 is going to be somewhere around right there. And we know A and B are connected, so I'm going to connect, this is B prime now, A and B prime. Okay, now I'm going to do this one more time and find my D. So I look at this here. I'm going to go to D. And I have to go 120 degrees, so I go from the 0, 120 degrees, counterclockwise. I have my line, so I'm going to measure it. And this is approximately 2 centimeters on the dot, I'm going to say. So I'm only going to go from C 2 centimeters and put my dot there. It's going to be somewhere around there on that line. And this is going to be D prime. So now I'm just going to connect C and D, because I look here, C and D are connected. So this C and D could be connected. My image. And I'm going to connect D prime and B prime. Just like that. So now, here we have my image. It's going to be rotated 120 degrees. And a way to check that is just go and we measure from D to D prime. So I'm going to measure, make sure D to D prime, right there, is 120. I look at this angle is 120. Okay, and we go from D to D prime, and it's counterclockwise. We're going counterclockwise from 0 to 120. Let's take a look from A to A prime. So I'd go from point C, A to A prime. Once again, I follow this from 0, and I follow all the way across. It's going to be 120. I can check that with each angle to make sure I did it right. And I did it right. So that's how we make a rotation of 120. And to check rotation, just going to do the opposite. You take your trusty protractor and I'm just going to measure and see which direction it goes.